If you are looking to easily and quickly create a live updating stock portfolio dashboard in Google Sheets, then look no further than this video. Let's get started. In order to follow this tutorial, you're going to need a free Google account. And with a free Google account, you get access to Google Sheets. Now, on my screen, you can see I'm just on the Google Sheets homepage, and there's this option to add a blank or start a new spreadsheet and make it blank. So I'm just going to click that. And then I'm going to change it from an untitled spreadsheet to stock dashboard. And then in cell H1, I'm going to type stock dashboard as well. And now I'm going to highlight the three cells around it, G through I1, and then I'm going to go to Format, Merge Cells, and Merge All. Then I'm going to hit Control B, and we're going to go change the font size to 14 and center align this. We just want our dashboard to look very nice. Now we're going to add the date in here, so we're going to say equals today, and then we're going to close this bracket, hit enter, and then I'm going to hit Control B again, and once again I will center align this as well. I have taken the liberty to paste in these column headers in row 4. Don't worry about what all of them mean right now, but we're gonna get to that later on. If you don't want to type all these in, you can feel free to purchase the file that I'm creating in this video in the link in the description, but for now I'm going to highlight all these rows. I'm going to hit Control B to make them bold. Then I'm going to increase the width of row 4 about 3 times the length of what it normally is, and then I'm going to center align, vertically align to the middle, and then I'm going to go to Format, Wrap Text, and I'm going to hit Wrap. So now we can see all of the words, even though text would normally be longer than the cell. And one thing I'm not enjoying is that I can't see all the columns, so I'm going to make a few of these just a bit smaller. So I'm going to minimize them a bit. Then also I want more screen to work with, so I'm going to hit F11 on my keyboard to go into full screen mode. Let's also make column 1 smaller, and let's shrink column 3 a bit. Now that's starting to look good. I'm sorry to say that this next part will be the most manual for you as a user of this spreadsheet. So I've taken the liberty to paste in these values. These are going to be our hard-coded values. So you're going to type in all of these values based on your own portfolio. And let's go through each of these columns. So the symbol is just the stock's ticker symbol, and the name is the name of the company, and the sector is the sector in which it operates. If you're not certain off the top of your head what sector it operates in, I'll show you how you can pull this up easily. So Walmart symbol is WMT. So I'm going to hit F11 to exit full screen mode, go over to Yahoo Finance, and I'm going to type in WMT, which should bring up Walmart. And then once that loads, we'll go to Profile, and then we'll see the sector right here is consumer defensive, right? So I'm going to go back to Google Sheets, hit F11 and go back into full screen mode, and I would just paste that sector right in there for Walmart consumer defensive. And now we also are going to need to include our number of shares. So this is just how many shares of each company you own. For example, I own 50 shares of Toyota, and I paid a price of $261.73 for those shares of Toyota. Now we want to make it so that we can easily see which cells are hard-coded values, versus which cells are formulas. So let's make a nice light yellow shade for the hard-coded values. So I'm going to go and add a custom color. I'm going to drag this over into the yellow section, and I'm just going to grab a very light yellow. I don't want it to be too distracting, so that's nice. So we can see these are all our hard-coded values, and now we know that the rest of these columns are all going to be formula driven. So I'm just going to highlight that whole range, and then go back to fill color, add custom, and now I'm going to go back to the blues, and I'm just going to grab another very, very light blue. Okay, now let's get started on filling in some of these formulas. One thing that's important to us as investors is market capitalization. So this is the size of the company, and it can be helpful in a portfolio to have companies of various sizes, because larger companies generally have less risk, but with less risk, often less return. So let's find out the market cap of each of these by going into cell E5 and typing equals Google Finance. And then first it wants our ticker. And so we conveniently have this right here. So I'm just going to hit that, comma, and then the attribute. So for the attribute, we're going to want to type in market cap in quotes, and we'll hit enter. So this tells us Toyota's market cap, but we want it in billions. So we're going to divide this value by 1 billion. There we go. And I'm going to put this as a formatted as a dollar sign. So right over here, format as currency. Then I'm going to double click on the bottom right of the cell to shoot it all the way down. So here we have all of our company's market caps. Apple is quite large compared to the rest. And now we want to determine its cap size. So is it large cap, mid cap, or small cap? Generally, large cap companies have over 10 billion in assets. Mid caps are somewhere between 2 billion and 10 billion, and small caps are below 2 billion. So let's use a nested if function to determine whether these are large, mid, or small cap. So we're going to be saying if this value is greater than 10, then this is a large cap company. However, if this value is less than 10, but it is greater than 2, then we're going to call this a mid cap. And then finally, if it's less than 2, we're going to call it a small cap company. Oh, let me add my quote here. And then we're going to have to close this with double parentheses, enter. And yep, it's going to ask us, do we want it to autofill? We'll hit yes. And now we see we have all large companies in our portfolio except for 2 small caps and 1 mid cap. The amount paid column is just how much we paid for each of these stocks, which is quite simple. It's just going to be equal to the number of shares we own of that stock multiplied by the price that we paid per share. So let's hit enter, let it autofill all the way down. And let's make this column along with this one all the way to here. Let's make these dollar signs. And then we're going to start a row down here on the bottom called total, and we're just going to want to keep track of our total portfolio statistics. I'm going to make it bold with Control B, and we'll do equals sum, and we'll just grab this entire range and then hit enter. So we can see that we paid $178,000 for this portfolio. Now let's see the current price. And so we're going to use equals Google Finance once again. We're going to grab the ticker from over here, comma, and then this time in the attribute, we're going to put price in quotes. And we will let it autofill all the way down. And so one important thing to note here is that I'm currently making this on a Saturday, so the market isn't open. You won't see any of these change. But on a weekday, if you're building a similar dashboard, you're going to see these prices updating live as the prices in the market change. Let's find the total value of our portfolio, which is just going to be equal to the current price of each stock multiplied by the number of shares that we own. We'll let it fill all the way down, and then we'll hit on the bottom, we'll do equals sum, and we're just going to grab that whole range once again. And now that tells us that our current value of our portfolio is $169,000. Which is less than what we paid for it, so we've actually lost money up until this point. Now let's determine the allocation, which is just going to be what percentage of our portfolio is in each of these stocks, which is just going to be equal to the value of each individual stock divided by the total value that we calculated here. But we're going to hit F4 to lock in that bottom total value. We'll hit enter, and we'll let it autofill. And then here we're just going to highlight it, and let's change this to format as a percentage. And you can see our total sum is 100%. Let's grab the whole bottom row and just hit Control B to bold it. Now we're getting into the real meat of this stock portfolio dashboard, and in column M, we're going to want to find out how much have we gained or lost in dollar value on each of our positions. And so to do that, it's quite simple. We'll just say our total gain or loss is equal to its current total value subtracted by the original amount that we paid for each share. So that tells us that we've lost $5,900 on Toyota stock in the entire time that we've held it. Now we'll just let it autofill all the way down, and we can see that we've lost a total of about $9,500 on our entire portfolio. Now for the total gain loss percentage, we're just going to take our total gain loss and we're going to divide by the amount that we originally paid for each position, and we'll let it autofill. And then we'll format this as a percentage. So this tells us that on Toyota stock, we have lost about 45% over the course of our holding period, and then we've also lost about 5% on our entire portfolio. Now, this column, we want to see over the last day, how much have we gained or lost on this stock in dollar value. So luckily Google Finance has an inbuilt formula for this, so we'll say equals Google Finance. For the ticker, we will select the symbol over here in column B, comma, and then for the attribute, we'll put change in quotes. This shows us that over the last day, Toyota stock has gone up 15 cents. Now, to find out how much we've gained or lost over the last day, we'll just multiply that value by the amount of shares that we have. And we can see that we have gained $7.50 on Toyota stock over the last day. Let's shoot this formula all the way down. And then for the sum row, we're just going to sum up all our gains for all our shares or losses. And we can see that we lost about $600 on this whole portfolio in the last day. Now to calculate the 1 day return, we're just going to need to find out the change in value over the course of the day, which again is equal to Google Finance, grab the ticker, comma, change. But then we need to divide this value by what was the price of this stock at the start of the day, which is just going to be equal to the current price minus this value that it's changed over the course of the day. So there we go. And then let's change this to a percentage. So we can see that Toyota's value has gone down, or has gone up 0.11% over the course of the day. Now to find out the total amount that our 1 day is our total 1 day return percentage, we're going to do equal to, we need to find the value of our portfolio currently, which is this total value. And we're going to divide it by the amount that our portfolio started at the start of the day, which is going to be that portfolio value subtracted by the amount that the portfolio changed over the course of the day. And then we're going to have to subtract by 1. So that tells us that over the course of this day, our portfolio has gone down 0.35%. Our stock portfolio dashboard is starting to look pretty good, but I'm not completely satisfied. So let's do a few more formatting things just to make it look perfect. I'm going to highlight these values here and hit Control B to make them bold. Now let's add some borders. So I'm going to grab all the column headers, go to borders, and then I'm going to hit outer borders. I'm going to do the same thing for the body of the table. And I'm going to do the same thing for the total row. And so now you can see it's starting to look pretty good. But I think there's one key thing that's missing. When we've gained money, I want to see green text. And when we've lost, I want to see red. Just like I would see in my Robinhood or Fidelity brokerage account. So one thing that we can do to make that happen is we can just select the whole range. We can go to Format and hit Conditional Formatting. Now we're going to apply it to that range we selected. We're going to say if the value is greater than 0, we're going to want the text color to be this dark green. But we also want to keep the fill color the same as what we're used to. So I'll select that and then I'll hit done. And so now we can see all of our gains are highlighted green, even the percentages. But we do not have red for losses yet. So we'll go back to Format. And then we'll hit Conditional Formatting while we have that range selected, and we're going to add another rule. And then we're going to say if the value is less than 0, we're going to want to change the text color to this nice dark red, and we're going to want to make sure to keep that background cell fill color the same as before, and we'll hit done. Now that is looking pretty nice. That gives us a good overview of where we have made gains and losses. Let's add some summary charts so that we can quickly see the composition of our portfolio. And to do that, we're going to go to Insert, Chart, and let's just resize this a bit so that it fits nicely down here. Okay. And we're going to want to change this chart type to pie. Okay, perfect. And now we're going to have to add labels, and we're just going to want to use the company names. So we'll select that range and hit OK. And now we need to add values. And for this pie chart, we want to make this based on the allocation percentages. So I'm just going to grab this whole range of allocations. So there, that's a pretty nice view of all of our allocations, but let's make a few changes. Let's hit Customize, and then let's go to chart axis and titles, and let's call this stock allocations, and hit enter, and then let's center this title and make it bold. Okay, that's looking pretty good. One thing I do want to see though is I want to see these in the order in which we have our allocations. And we can do that by just selecting this whole range, going to data, sort range, advanced range sorting options. Now, allocation is in column L here, so I'm going to hit column L, and I'm going to do Z to A because that's descending order. Sort, and now we can see all of our top allocations over here, and they go towards our lowest allocations. As an investor, one thing I really want to see added here is a similar pie chart to the one we just made that shows my breakout of cap sizes, and another one that shows sectors. Again, kind of like I might see in my Fidelity or Robinhood account. And to do that, we're going to have to add a new sheet. And let's just add a new sheet by hitting that button, and then let's call that one helper. I did that by double clicking on it. Let's rename this sheet to dashboard. Again, just by double clicking on it. And there's two things we're going to want to include in here. We're going to want our cap size allocations, and then we're also going to want our sector allocations. So I'm just giving all those column headers up there. I'll highlight them all, hit Control B to bold. And then I'm going to use the formula equals unique to bring in all of my cap sizes from this range. So I did equals unique, and now I'm selecting that range, hit enter. And that's just going to tell me all my 3 cap sizes. And we'll do the same thing with sectors. So equals unique. We'll grab the range of all the sector names and hit enter, and there, it pulls in all of our sectors, so that's looking very nice. Now to find the percentage in each of these baskets, we're going to use the inbuilt function SUMIF. So that is asking us for the range, so this is the criterias, so we're just going to grab that cap size range, and we'll hit F4 to lock it in place, then comma. For the criteria, we want this mid classification here, and then comma, and now this is the sum range, which is just going to be our allocation percentages. And again, I'm going to hit F4, close it with a parenthesis, and hit enter, and I'm going to change it to format as a percentage, and I'll just drag this down. And you can see the sum of all these is 100% right in the bottom right corner. Okay, so now we can do the same thing with allocation, so we'll do equals SUMIF. And then for the range, we're just going to grab this sector range, hit F4, comma, then we'll grab the particular sector we're interested in right there, comma, and then we're going to once again grab the range of allocations, and we will once again hit F4 on the keyboard and close that formula, then hit enter, format it as a percentage, and drag it all the way down. So we can see that we've got 47% in technology, for example, and about 59% in large cap. Now let's make these pie charts. So first, let's make the sector pie chart. All right, so we're just going to make a copy of the original, then we're going to change the name. So we'll call it sector allocations. And then in the setup, we're going to change the label, so we'll just click here, and we're going to click select data range, and we'll get rid of the old one, and then we'll come back to our helper, and we'll just grab these here, hit OK, and then we're going to change the value range as well by hitting select a data range. We'll get rid of that one, and we'll go back to helper and highlight here. And there, see how easy that was, and we can just see how much of our what percentage of our portfolio is allocated to each sector. Or each, sorry, this should be cap size, my bad. So we'll change this to cap size. And then now we'll do the same thing for sectors. So we'll do Control C on that chart and Control V. So now, oh, 1 second. My computer froze for a second there. We'll rename this one to sector allocations. So sector allocations. Now we'll go to the setup, and again we're going to hit that select a data range, and then we're going to get rid of that, and we'll grab these sectors, hit OK, and then we're going to change the values, and we will delete what's in there, go back here and grab these allocations, hit OK. And so now we've got a really good overview of what stocks we're holding, what cap size are the companies, and what sectors were allocated too. And why that might be important is we might notice, hey, like we've got too much of an allocation into the technology center and sector, and perhaps we should diversify into some of these other options. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. If you would like to buy a version of this file, instead of having to make it yourself, you can check the link in the description for the file on my website. Also, if you'd like to book one-on-one time with me, I can help with financial modeling, financial analysis, or just tutoring related to finance. Please subscribe to this channel because it helps a lot, and thank you so much for watching this video.